wonder whether you have what it takes to teach online? Whether you're a blogger, a podcaster, a YouTuber, a coach or consultant, or an online course creator, or even an ebook author, these all fall into the realm of teaching. And if you want to be able to relay your message accordingly, then you need to be able to understand the skills that you need in order to teach online. If you're interested to find out whether you have what it takes in order to teach online, then keep on watching, because in this video, I'm going to reveal to you the key skills that you will need to teach excellently online. And if you stick to the end of this video, I'm going to reveal to you on how you can evaluate whether or not you are doing a good job at teaching online. Hi, I'm Caroline from Plain Simple Marketing, the place to be to get easy marketing strategies that anyone can do. And today, I'm going to reveal to you from a viewpoint of a student on what you need in order to be able to teach excellently online. I have personally went through a lot of online courses, ebooks, and other sort of digital content such as YouTube videos and podcasts. And so these skills that I'm about to tell you about in this video is based on my views on what skills are needed in order to teach well online. Of course, the preferences of different students are different, and if you want to reach up to the expectation of the people that you are teaching, then it's best to understand your target audience even more. But I do feel that this video will be beneficial to you because it will give you a sneak peek on what a student really feels and really wants in an online teaching. And when I talk about teaching, it doesn't mean a school teacher, but you can be doing other forms of teaching. Like I said, it can be writing blogs, it can be doing a podcast, it can be doing YouTube, as long as you are giving how-to tutorials and teaching people on how to do stuff, you are considered teaching online. One of the most important things that you need to do before even starting to teach people is to be clear on your objectives. Because if you are not clear with your objectives and be very vague about it, then your students will be confused because you have nowhere to focus. And when you are clear about your objectives, you need to make it known to the people that you're teaching. For instance, if you have a blog or a podcast or a YouTube video, make the main objective of your content known through the title of your blog, your podcast, or your YouTube video. And if you are doing like an online course or an ebook, then you need to be even more specific and elaborate about your objectives, because the people who are learning these skills from you are actually paying money for your teaching. And so if you are not elaborate enough, this will make them run away and not want to learn from you. Another important thing that you need to do to teach online is to understand the topic that you're teaching thoroughly before teaching other people. Because when you understand the topic that you are teaching thoroughly, you are going to be able to explain it better and to break down methods in a way so that it's more easy to understand. And when I talk about understanding a topic thoroughly, I do not necessarily mean that you need to have all the answers relating to the topic, because it all depends on where your students are at. But at least you need to be a few steps ahead of the people who you're teaching, because they will not benefit if you are at the same level as them. And also, if you try and cram all the things about that topic into just one content, one e-course or an ebook, then you will tend to give your students information overload, and this is not what you want. So be clear on your objectives and understand the topic thoroughly so you can deliver the objectives that you have promised. And if your students want to know more about the topic, then recommend to them maybe further readings or resources that they can go to learn more about the topic. Another important skill that you need to have to do online teaching is to be able to break down technical and difficult to understand things so that your students will find the information that you're providing easier to digest. There are many times when I've gone through online courses that I realized that a lot of the other fellow students have difficulty in following what the online course creator has been talking about. This is because information is presented to them in a way that is a little bit above of their level of understanding. As the person who is teaching online, you will have to understand where your students are at and communicate to them from the level of where they are. Many times I realize that a lot of people who are especially in the industry that they're in for a very long time express what they understand about the topic in a way that assumes the student already have prior knowledge of what they're talking about. Never assume that your students have been reading maybe months or years about the topic that you're about to teach. Talk to them as if it's something that they've just heard for the first time. Especially if you are teaching beginner courses or delivering content that are meant for beginners, you have to do away with all the jargons, and except for maybe if you're teaching to maybe engineers or web programmers, because these people will know the jargons and technical terms. But at the same time, if you do express certain jargons or technical terms, let the student know where they can find out the definition of those terms. Another thing that I feel is really important for you to have if you're teaching online is to be able to relay the same sort of message through different methods. Different students learn through different ways. And so you must be able to break down the information that you're trying to convey, or the skill or the concept that you're trying to explain to your students through different ways, such as text as well as audio and visual formats. For instance, if you're doing an online course, then perhaps you want to teach your students how to use online software by actually sharing your screen to show how you actually use the software. Let them know where you're clicking, what functions to use, and what to look out for. You cannot just have like a video of yourself talking all the time, or you cannot just convey everything all in text. You need to be able to balance it out. Another thing you need to do, especially if you're doing written content, is that not all data can be presented purely through text. You may need to include some graphics as well to elaborate the things better. If you have some data that you want to present to your readers, then you can actually use an infographic or a chart to be able to convey the message to your readers so that they will be able to digest the gist of the information. Understanding which method to use for conveying different things does take time, but you need to experiment and see what your students will like to have. It's good to have that mix because you will be appealing to the different learning styles of your students. Another important thing that many people don't talk about is the need to understand when to talk a little bit more lively and to talk a little bit slower when teaching online. Now, when you are doing a video or a podcast or an online course that will require you to record yourself talking, you should be a little bit lively and charismatic when delivering the message, because when you talk a little bit too slow or you mumble, then your students will basically fall asleep. But when trying to be lively and charismatic, don't get carried away and talk too fast. I know that when you get excited, you tend to talk fast, but it is good to tone down a little bit. On the other hand, when you are doing like a demonstration to your students, like if you're doing like a recording of a screen capture of you trying to do research or to demonstrate a particular software to your students, then you need to talk a little bit slower, because if you talk too fast and too lively, then your students will not be able to understand or follow what you are trying to say. So by talking a little bit slower when you are doing video demonstrations on how to do something or how to use a software, then this will help your students to be able to catch up with you, to understand what you're trying to explain to them. So yes, try and train yourself on how fast or how slow to speak in order to teach well online. And now, if you wonder how can you gauge whether or not you're doing a good job at teaching online, then these are the two main methods that you can use in order to gauge your level of teaching. The first thing that many people do when teaching online is to ask for a review. You can ask a review at the end of your online course or at the end of your ebook. And if you have like a blog post, a YouTube video, or a podcast teaching a particular topic, then you can ask them whether or not they have gained anything from what you've shared, whether they have implemented anything and have found results from it. By doing this, you'll be able to gauge whether or not what you have taught is able to impact them in any way. And when it's able to contribute in any way to the people who you're teaching, then you have done a good job in teaching online. Another not really common thing that you can do in order to evaluate whether or not you have done a good job in teaching is to do an online quiz. This is a good way, especially if you're doing online courses. Let your students go through the quiz and answer some questions and see what is their level of understanding about the topic that you have taught. Find out if they can answer the questions to the quiz. And when they can answer the questions and have a good understanding about the topic that you've just taught, then it's safe to say that you have done a good job in teaching. I hope that you found this video helpful and will be motivated to get the skills that you need in order to teach better online. Every week, I share a video on either entrepreneurship or marketing strategies. So if you would like to view more of my upcoming videos regarding these topics, then consider subscribing to my channel. You can also follow me on Facebook and read my blog at plainsimplemarketing.com for more information on entrepreneurship and marketing strategies. I will include the relevant links in the description section so you can check it out. Till then, I wish you all the best and hope that this video has inspired you to gain the skills that are needed in order to be better at teaching online. Thank you for watching and I'll see you soon.